Are we finally seeing the moment where a few young NBA players, once doubted, once overshadowed, are stepping into stardom? Across the league, there's been a whirlwind of buzz around emerging talents who've battled through injuries, inconsistency, and early season criticism, yet now they're dazzling fans and changing narratives left and right. Today, we're going to spotlight 5 of these players who have kicked open the door to new possibilities and are suddenly looking like the players we always hoped they could be. But before we start, I have a quick favor to ask. I recently found out that a large chunk of you watching right now aren't subscribed. If you enjoy deep dives into NBA talent, player transformations, and all the exciting drama the league brings, tap that subscribe button. It's free, takes just a second, and makes a world of difference for the channel. Now let's get right into the good stuff. Cade Cunningham entered the NBA with sky-high expectations. Drafted first overall in 2021, Cunningham was hailed as a do-it-all guard with the vision of a veteran and the scoring punch of an all-star. The Detroit Pistons hoped he would be the catalyst that eventually lifted them out of the league's basement. Yet in his first 2 years, he faced consistent struggles, lingering injuries, a lack of team success, and constant reminders that star power doesn't always translate to wins when a roster lacks depth. Early on, it seemed like Cunningham carried the weight of the entire city on his shoulders. Critics claimed he lacked explosiveness or questioned whether his style would truly fit today's pace and space NBA. Those doubts stung, but in reality, he was dealing with nagging physical issues that kept him from establishing a rhythm. When he was healthy, you could see the flashes, smooth step backs, calm passing under pressure, and a knack for reading defenders like a seasoned pro. Yet the Pistons still languished at the bottom of the standings, leading many to wonder if he could transform into that cornerstone star. Fast forward to the season, and the transformation is undeniable. He's healthy, he's aggressive, and the Pistons are seeing results. Cunningham is posting an efficient 25 points per game, coupled with nearly 9 assists, numbers that speak to his evolution. On top of that, he's become one of the highest usage players in the league, hovering near the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that metric. While usage rate alone isn't everything, it reveals how central he's become to the Pistons' entire game plan. The best part is that all this effort is translating into something tangible. More wins than the Pistons have seen in years and a shot at a respectable playoff seed. It feels like Cade is no longer just a promising future star. He's turning into the engine that drives his team. His improved three-point shooting and mid-range pull-up game force defenses to guard him closely, leaving gaps for teammates to exploit. Plus, he's shown more confidence in taking over in the clutch, a vital component for any franchise player. The narrative has shifted from "can Cade hold up" to "how far can Cade take them?" And that's a question Pistons fans have waited a long time to ask. But Cunningham isn't the only top draft selection finally hitting those high notes. Another name from his draft class is proving he's more than a defensive specialist. He's evolving into something even scarier. Evan Mobley's defensive prowess was never in doubt. Drafted 3rd overall in 2021, he entered the NBA touted as an instant game changer on that end of the floor. His lateral quickness, rim protection instincts, and ability to switch between guards and big men felt almost otherworldly for a rookie, and indeed, he lived up to that promise right away. He's already finished in the top 3 of the Defensive Player of the Year voting once, highlighting just how much impact he's had for a resurgent Cleveland Cavaliers squad. Yet, when the Cavs had to rely on him offensively, especially in tense playoff situations, Mobley's game seemed incomplete. He was certainly reliable around the rim, using his length and timing to finish alley-oops or scoop up offensive rebounds, but stretch him out to the three-point line and that reliability vanished. Not only did his lack of outside shooting cramp spacing, it also allowed defensive schemes to swarm Cleveland's guards without much fear of a Mobley jumper. His tall, lean frame was a perfect fit for anchoring a defense, but it was missing that little extra spark on offense. Now in his 3rd year, Mobley has discovered a rhythm and confidence from beyond the arc that completely changes the scouting report. He's taking more three-point shots, about 3 per game, and sinking them at a 37% clip. That number might not scream Steph Curry, but for a 7-footer who once looked uncomfortable even attempting long-range shots, it's huge, right? It forces defenders to step out, and the result is an increased overall scoring average, up to a career-high 19 points per game. All this improvement landed him in his first All-Star game, and let's be clear, his defense remains top-notch. The Cavaliers are thriving at or near the top of the Eastern Conference, and Mobley's versatility is a big reason. He can hedge on pick and rolls, recover to block shots in the paint, and still rotate back to guard the perimeter. Add in an expanding offensive skill set, and you've got a player who isn't just a promising big man. He's quickly becoming one of the best two-way forwards in the league. As impressive as Mobley's balance of offense and defense is, sometimes the biggest question for young players is less about talent and more about physical health. One towering prospect in Charlotte has been battling the injury bug but is now turning heads for entirely different reasons. Mark Williams came into the league as a lottery pick in 2022, and for good reason. He's a legitimate 7-footer with the kind of mobility that makes scouts sit up straight. By all accounts, he was supposed to become an inside-out force, someone who could dominate the boards, block shots, and possibly stretch the floor over time. Unfortunately, the first 2 seasons of his career were plagued by injuries that interrupted any sort of consistency. Whenever he started to find a groove, another setback would derail him. Fans grew anxious. The Charlotte Hornets, longing for a cornerstone big man since the days of Al Jefferson, hoped Williams could be the solution. At times, he was exactly that, showcasing intimidating shot blocking and the knack for finishing at the rim with ferocity. But the brief glimpses never coalesced into a full season of reliable production. Thankfully, the tide turned this season. Williams still battles the occasional injury, but when he's on the court, he's a difference maker. He's grabbing 10 rebounds per game, contesting shots in the paint, and becoming a genuine interior scoring threat with a career-high 16 points per night. One of his most jaw-dropping performances featured a 38-point outburst against Memphis, where he looked unstoppable in the low post. League-wide, rumors began swirling that the Los Angeles Lakers were eyeing him to bolster their front court. This wasn't just idle chatter. Insiders reported that the two sides nearly reached a deal. Medical concerns ultimately caused the trade to fall through, but the interest from a championship-aspiring franchise says a lot about how far Williams' stock has risen. For the Hornets, the priority is obvious, keep Mark Williams healthy and nurture that massive well of potential. If he continues to refine his post moves, builds on his timing for blocks, and maybe even develops a mid-range jumper, he could become one of the most reliable centers in the game. For Charlotte, a team that has repeatedly missed on or lost out on top-tier big men, Williams' upswing is a lifeline. Peyton Pritchard was a first-round pick back in 2020, coming out of college with a reputation for crafty ball handling, pesky defense, and the kind of shooting range that can catch defenses off guard. But the NBA is a different beast, especially for sub-6'2" guards. Despite some promising flashes, like hitting a bunch of threes in a single quarter to spark a comeback, Pritchard never seemed to stick in the Celtics' rotation early on. One major concern was his defensive impact. While he tried to be scrappy, taller guards would shoot over him or muscle past him. The advanced metrics often showed that Boston performed worse with him on the floor, which sent him tumbling down the bench in high-stakes matchups. The turning point came when Pritchard decided to double down on conditioning. In multiple interviews, he mentioned how the game started to slow down for him once he got into peak shape. Now, he doesn't merely hold his own on defense, he can apply pressure, pester ball handlers, and fight through screens more effectively. This newfound defensive competence complements his offensive gifts. Pritchard is hitting an impressive 42% of his threes while attempting around 8 per game, providing an instant scoring boost whenever he steps on the court. He's also contributed 14 points per contest in a Celtics lineup packed with all-stars and high-usage players. That's no small feat. Boston, fresh off a championship run, relies heavily on bench production to maintain leads when Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown sits. Pritchard's ability to light up the scoreboard from beyond the arc makes him a frontrunner for the 6th Man of the Year award. This season underscores the idea that even if a player arrives in the NBA without star-level physical traits, unwavering dedication and specialized skills can still carve out a crucial role. Pritchard's story resonates with undersized guards everywhere. Your height can't hold you back if you outwork and outsmart your competition. The NBA is often called a make or miss league, not just for the shots you take on the court, but for the reputation you build off it. Young players can rise and fall in the public eye at lightning speed. For Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Mark Williams, Peyton Pritchard, this season has marked a turning point where all the talent, all the hype, and all the potential started converging into real, measurable impact. Whether it's Cunningham's leadership, Mobley's newfound shooting touch, Williams's interior dominance, Pritchard's invaluable spark off the bench, each of them has shown that initial struggles don't have to define your NBA destiny. What really matters is how you adapt, learn, and eventually break through. So, which of these 5 do you think has the highest long-term ceiling? Who's most likely to become an all-NBA fixture, and whose success story is just beginning? Let me know in the comments. I read each one. And if you found this video interesting, be sure to hit the like button and share it with a friend who loves the game as much as you do. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. There's plenty more in-depth basketball content coming your way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep your eyes on these breakout stars. You never know which one is about to take their game to an even higher level.